And welcome to yet another episode of Funny Talk with Mangelli and Max. I'm Tom Mangelli. This is Doug Max. Say hi, Doug.
Hi, Doug. Hi, Tom.
Hi. Who's our guest tonight, Doug?
We have, you know who our guest tonight is? A
Who?
wonderful comedian named Tom Mangelli. This is
Really?
your life, Tom Mangelli.
You call this living?
Well, not yet. We got to get into it. But before we get into it, we should thank the powers that be that allow us to do whatever stupid stuff we're going to do for the next hour. Right?
This is true. The powers that be, you're speaking of Jack Hoffman of J. Irwin Productions. If you want a comedy show for a fundraiser, a private party, a restaurant showcase, you contact Jack at jirwinproductions.com. He's great to work with, and he knows all the comics. And if you're in the North Jersey area, New York, New Jersey, contact Jack. He's the guy to talk to.
Right? And Jack has asked me to personally stop pitching bathroom cleaning services from comedians.
It's about time.
Yeah, just he was making tons of money on it, but he was keeping too busy. I don't think you could find a better person to clean your bathroom than a comedian who's OCD.
Oh, an OCD person in general. It doesn't have to be a comic.
Yeah, well, that's true. But I'm entertaining when I'm being OCD, Tom.
That's true.
I've been that way my entire life. A friend of mine, I've known from 5 years old. You know, we were good friends in high school. You know, we were, only so friends growing up. But he came to visit, and he noticed that I trimmed the crust off of bread. He goes, "You used to do that when you were 17." And I had no recollection of having done that.
Really?
If you ever run into friends from a long time ago and have them let you know that you're still doing some things you used to do?
Well, I'm clumsy that way. I run into people all the time.
You should wear your glasses. That's the narcolepsy and driving, Tom.
Yeah.
We've talked about that.
Yeah, speaking of sleep problems, I have severe sleep apnea and I can't use one of those masks. So I'm on a 30-year sleep deprivation ritual. And it affects me. I have fallen asleep behind the wheel. I have gotten into accident. It's not a funny thing, but it happens. And now I have a bed that's more like a hammock than it is a bed. So this past weekend, I went out and I bought a new mattress because the mattress I had was just like, I can't even call it a joke because there's nothing funny about it. Anyway, so I walk into this furniture store, and the sweater vest at the podium comes at me with this thermometer. It says, "Let me take your temperature before you come in. What are you here for?" I said, "I just wanted to know what my temperature was." I actually said that, and
I know you
and then
did, Tom.
Then I thought that's a douchey way to greet this guy. I says, "I'm also looking for a mattress." He said, "For yourself?" I said, "No, for a complete stranger." I'm like, where do people come up with questions like this? I guess I could have been buying it for somebody, but
you would be a good person to pick a mattress, though. If I needed a mattress, I actually just got a mattress. We were talking about that. I didn't think of you and the powers that you would have in mattress selection. Tom, I need medium firm. No, I'm feeling the floor on this one, Doug. Dial it up.
The Princess and the Pea. Have you heard of that?
Yeah. Is that you, Tom?
That was me. Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
No, that'll be me in 20 years. The Prince and the Pea, because I won't be able to get up in the middle of the night.
You're making me think of an invention. I did it on my car forum. I forget, some idiot, they're teenagers with my cars, with my old model car, because it goes back to 99. So there was a teenager that wrote something about where to hide his drugs. I wrote this entire thing about how I had turned the center console of my car into a hookah, and then I drilled a hole in my seat so that the pipe came up through my seat so it would be discreet so I could hookah. And in that same post, I said, I love that, but it makes me pee a lot. So I built an in-car urinal. It's basically a funnel with the hose connected to it. And I drilled it through the firewall. I sealed it with silicone. And, when I talked about how I bent it so it dropped down by the fuel pressure regulator, like I really did it. Anyway, you made me just think of a great thing for Shark Tank. Hi,
You're
Sharks.
obsessed with this Shark Tank.
I am. I watch it a lot. Hi, Sharks. My name is Doug Max, and I'm here with the in-bed urinal. Sharks, has this ever happened to you? Of course it has. You're all over 50. You wake up in the middle of the night, you got to pee. Do you want to make the long haul to your bathroom?
That's how they got the waterbed.
I'm thinking of a little kit where you add a hole in your mattress, rig up a hose, and have it drain down below into a permanently sealed, easily self-draining urinal.
Into the downstairs apartment.
Just drill a hole through the bottom of your bed, and it's just. I like that idea, Tom.
Do you? They make the pens now. Only they don't make them in 4X.
They make we'll get you it's like a. Don't be insulted by this, Tom. It's like a puppy pad. The things that you get for an apartment for a puppy to pee on.
Yeah,
they have those for people. They have those for people, but they give it a different name, I think.
Right. They're called the Weewee Pads.
Okay. Oh yeah, for an animal, but they make them for humans.
Oh.
They make them for humans. Anyway, so I don't want you to worry, but you should lose weight anyway. If you get down to like a 3X, I think they have Depends in those sizes.
I don't know.
And by then they'll probably come in fashionable colors and designs. They're already making these. I've noticed these boutique Depends for women. I haven't seen the commercials for the, for an old guy in a pair of Depends that makes him look, I don't know, with the spandex front or something. I don't know. What could you do to him? Oh, I know. You'd rig up a little banana pouch in the front. That's what you do. Insert does not come with banana.
Yeah, banana not included.
That's it.
Now, do you remember the Saturday Night Live mock commercial? Oops, I crapped my pants.
Of course I do, Tom.
They pour a whole pitcher of iced tea into it.
Good serve, Grandma. I just crapped my pants. I just crapped my pants. I could see a great play on that. Take that commercial, I just crapped my pants, but turn it into a presidential cabinet meeting. So, apparently, Tom, I'm going to hell. I don't know about you, but one of my Facebook friends is I didn't know he's apparently very evangelical. And I think you know who I'm talking about.
Yes, I know who you're talking about.
And so he's been saying these things that has me very worried about him. I'm pretty sure I started getting these Facebook friend requests from people, and I'd look them up. I have one mutual friend, and it's him. I'm like, I don't want to have a whole bunch of evangelical friends, because I know they'd be really nice and they'd tell me how they're praying for me. And I'm like, you're wasting your time. Go out and do something for yourself.
The person on Facebook,
do something.
The person you're talking about on Facebook, he's got his his Sunday clothes on, waiting on the bus stop, waiting for the rapture as we speak. Like the first day of school.
Well, listen, don't joke about it, Tom. I've been preparing for the rapture or the apocalypse. I don't know which is going to come first. They keep on changing the dates. Same as when Trump is going to come back into office. It was March 4th, but I think they're going to come out with another date soon. Anyway, one of those three things is going to happen. I want you to know, I've got a flare in my car. I've got run flat tires. I've got like 10 gallons of gasoline in my car I can throw in the trunk. I could make it out to probably Indiana, where I'll be safe.
Okay. Now, rapture, I thought they said rupture.
So, since my father died, segue, and it's only two of us. Oh, yeah. I'll acknowledge that funny comment of yours, rupture. So I get a call. This guy, his name is Herbie. He's like 92 years old. He started calling my father every Shabbat, every Friday, and he'd call up before the Sabbath began, so he wouldn't be violating the Sabbath. He'd call up and wish us, or my dad, a Shabbat Shalom. He called up after my dad died. And I told him that he died. And he said, I'm very sorry. He goes, Doug, can I call you up every Friday and wish you Shabbat Shalom? I'm like, how? Okay. So I get these calls. Anyway, he told me a joke that I was reminded of. And of course, I forgot it. What were we talking about? How did
I don't know.
Tom, I don't know why you put up with me. I know why, because I eat up time. It's like he's good for half an hour of bullshit. It takes some of the pressure off. What was the joke he told me?
Oh, the rupture.
The rapture. The holiday. Jesus. And he told these jokes like this other comedian that, where it takes, we know well, who it, take a 15-second joke and turn it into an hour. I think I've turned this one into an hour just because I can't remember what it was. But it was really funny. If you're listening, audience, really, really funny joke. Try to capture that feeling.
Give out Herbie's phone number.
Herbie, what was that joke you? Oh, I know what it was. Damn, I know. I'm sorry, Tom. So it was the rapture. So these priests in the Vatican are in a meeting, and the new Pope says, I think it's time for us to look deeper into our past. I want some of you to go down into the archives and start searching and, finding our spiritual underpinnings. So he sends a team down into the archives of the Vatican, and a week or two later, one of them comes out crying hysterically. It can't be. The word, it can't be. Anyway, so others come up. What's the problem, Cardinal Richelieu? What's the problem? The word, it can't be. What? He said, the word wasn't, okay, I can't remember the word.
This better be worth it, Doug.
The word wasn't, what do you call it when the word wasn't celibate, it was celebrate. The word wasn't celibate, it was celebrate.
Okay, I heard it the first time.
It's not much funnier the second time. Tom, it must be the delivery.
It's the word.
It wasn't celibate, it was celebrate. Yeah, see, it was the delivery.
I'm laughing. Yeah.
Okay.
That reminds me of my old joke that I haven't said in a while.
Good.
Survival of the fittest. I thought it was the fattest. Man, am I screwed.
So you've got a long set coming up, Tom. I know you've got the material for it.
Yeah, I need a lot of material because I make my own clothes.
But yeah. Okay, so what else? Are you on the vaccine list?
I'm on the list. I haven't had any luck reaching anybody by telephone. So I'm still waiting to, schedule my appointment.
I got my first. I'm getting my second Thursday,
Okay.
so I will be safe.
I got a bunch of gigs coming up, and I'm afraid that I'm gonna have a reaction for my second shot, like a lot of people do, and it's gonna make me have to cancel out on a gig or two.
A lot of people do, a lot of people don't. The other thing that they're finding out is that a lot of people had coronavirus and weren't aware of it. They're finding that out I don't know how they find that out, but
Uh,
they're finding that out too. In which case, that would minimize the effect of the second shot because you've already had it. You should have had it in the first one. Oh, look who's here.
who is this?
Look at that lovely hair. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, Johnny.
Hello, gentlemen.
I'm glad you could make it. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us, the wonderful comedian, Johnny Hollywood.
Johnny, tell us, what the hell did you do to your arm, your wrist?
Okay, so a little while back, 2 years ago, I was in a car accident. We flipped and rolled the car, hit a tree, inverted, ended up in Hackensack. No, I'm sorry. Staten Island North Hospital. It was a code 1, trauma 1. Everybody got crazy. Injured my neck and my back. So I've been living with that for the last 2 years, and just had back surgery on the 15th of December. I was walking up the stairs 2 weeks ago, and my left leg completely did not respond. And I ended up pitching myself through the kitchen door coming upstairs from the basement. And I grabbed the door frame with this hand, and it wasn't enough to hold me. And I smashed my head into the door. Door went flying open, and I ended up in the kitchen on the floor.
You know how to make an entrance.
Yeah, sure did. And so I jammed up my wrist, and it was hurting for about a week. And then last night, I went to push myself up onto a bar stool. When you push your hands down, you try to lift yourself up.
Yeah.
And it just snapped, crackled, and popped.
Oh.
And it was so painful. I felt it all the way up my arm to here. I couldn't move my hand. It's got swollen. I couldn't bend my fingers. I couldn't make a fist. And went into the hospital and did not get out until about 6. I didn't walk home through my front door till 6 o'clock this morning.
Wow.
A Mountainside Hospital. They took a set of x-rays. They took a second set of x-rays. So I don't know what's going on. It's not great.
I'm sorry to hear it, but I also hurt my wrist, coincidentally. I don't know how I did it, but you're making me think I should wear my wrist brace.
Well, I have cracks in the radius, so.
I don't know what I have, but I'm sure I've got cracks in my radius.
Okay, fair enough.
What do you think, Tom?
I don't know. I've got all my bones intact, so.
And my son told me my son called me up the other day. He goes, "I've got good news. I did break my finger."
Oh.
Good news? He goes, "Yeah, they can't do anything surgery wise, so I just have to live with pain."
What, did somebody punch him in the nose?
No, I think this was a skateboarding accident. He's never thought before he's gone.
Never looked before he leaped.
Something I remember in Taekwondo, they had to do what's called a flying sidekick. You run as fast as you can, you take off at a certain line and dive into like a boxer's bag, right?
Right.
And so the guy goes, do a flying sidekick into the bat. Everybody else did a flying sidekick and landed and stood up. Emmy flew through the air parallel with the ground all the way the 6 feet to the bag and just dropped straight down like.
Wow.
And I'm like, didn't you, wasn't it implied you like,
hit the
Oh,
back.
wait a minute. Your son's name is Emmy?
Emerson, yeah.
Oh, Emerson. Okay. I was gonna ask if your other son was named Grammy. I won't.
Was who?
Grammy.
You have two sons?
Yeah.
Emmy and Grammy.
Yeah. And Tony. Don't forget Tony.
And Oscar.
And Oscar.
Anyway, so I hope the wrist, feels better. You were telling me about this this car accident, so it's a testament that you're alive.
Oh yeah, we got pit maneuvered on 440. I was in the car with No Filter Paul, and Dave Hodge, and we were going down. We were just merging on. We weren't even going quickly, and the guy hit me from behind, tilted my car into the divider, hit the divider till there was a lip. Then the car did a 360 across the highway, back across the highway. We went to the ditch in the side, and the car actually flipped over, and we hit a tree upside down, and then the car flipped back over right side up.
Holy
Basically
moly.
the opposite direction.
Wow.
So we were on our way to Anthony Cumia's house, you know, from the Opie and Anthony fame. And we were going to Anthony's house for a Halloween party. And Paul was dressed as Flo from Progressive. I was dressed up as Fabio from I Can't Believe It Stopped Butter. And Dave was dressed up as Trojan Man. And Paul was unconscious when the car finally stopped. I was dazed as hell. And the first thing I heard after the accident was Hodge in the back seat go, "You guys okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I guess so. I don't know." And I'm like, "Paul," and he didn't move. And I'm like, "Paul," he didn't move. I'm like, "Paul," I start shaking Paul. I'm like, and he goes, "Car's on fire. Evacuate." And we jumped out of the car, and it was a lot of smoke and stuff. And when the cop pulls up, he sees Paul dressed like Flo from Progressive and goes, "Boy, you guys don't mess around." So then we were all giddy and everything. Paul went into a manic episode because of the stress and everything. I'm literally dazed. I whacked my head on the steering wheel, on the front airbag, because it's got the side curtain, and then I hit my head on the side as we're flipping around. And I got hurt kind of worse than the other guys. Hodge was wearing a Roman soldier's uniform, you know? So I guess those things really work, because all he did was skinned his knee. He had no seatbelt on, nothing. He bounced around in the back like I was calling him pinball for a while.
Wow. That is, so what was the vehicle?
It was a Forester.
Okay. So Subaru.
2012 Forester saved my life.
Yeah.
So yeah, we bounced around. I ended up, because I guess I was at the axis of the rotation with the car spinning. So Paul was just like holding on the side, right? So he didn't have, and my hands were on the steering wheel. So as the car's spinning and flipping over, my whole upper body is going like this. I'm like flailing, you know? So my neck got messed up pretty good. And my low back, it's like almost like a seatbelt injury, because you're locked in around the waist. So your upper body's just doing this as the car's flopping around. And so I ended up with blown discs in my low back. I got some stuff going on in my neck that hasn't been addressed yet, because the surgery for that is fucking terrifying. They literally cut you in the front, and they move your vocal cords and all your stuff over to get to the spine in the back. It's like, are you kidding me?
Johnny.
Wow.
That's not the way I do that procedure.
I would go through the back, actually.
I go through the back. I have one of these long drills that you use to like, you know, to like fish wire through walls.
Yeah.
Start with anyway, you make an exploratory hole. You relieve the pressure.
Dr. Howard, Dr. Fine, Dr. Howard.
Yeah.
What do the doctors always call for it? They want what do they call it? A sponge. That's it.
Oh, sponge. Yeah.
A little bit of sponge, a Band-Aid.
Well, they want to put hardware in there. They want to put like a cage to lock it in, because the discs are just smushed.
Yeah, I have a bad back too. I understand that. But listen, for the $129 that I charge, I don't get involved with all these.
You know what? The only problem, Doug, is you're not in network, so I can't use you. You're not in network. I have to go with a doctor who's
lucky.
In network. Yeah,
Johnny, you can always come to my discount surgical center. Suit yourself.
Oh, I was thinking about getting some cheap hotel room surgery, like Rob Lowe and other people we know.
I didn't. What did Rob Lowe do? Yeah, some other
commercials for DirecTV, and he goes, "Hi, I'm Rob Lowe, and I have DirecTV. Hi, I'm Rob Lowe, and I got cheap cable." Yeah. It's like, "Hi, I'm Rob Lowe, and I go to spas. Hi, I'm Rob Lowe, and I get cheap hotel room plastic surgery."
Anyway, listen, Johnny, you brought it up. You brought it up obliquely, but I heard you. And I think one of the most, Johnny and I share
Oh, come on. He might be dead. Or he could be dying. He could be sick. Let's let the
Oh,
sociopath rest.
oh.
I don't know if I should call him sociopath. There's no confirmed diagnosis.
Okay, well, you're a better person than I am, Johnny Hollywood.
Man, if he drops dead, it's gonna be bad for all of us. He's gonna watch us while we masturbate quietly. It's not gonna be good.
Quietly? You mean there's rules?
Okay, well,
he's gonna be haunting Doug. He's gonna be driving. Doug's just gonna hear 18,000.
okay, so listen, our audience, we won't talk about this story, but Johnny and I were on a radio show together for many years. And if it wasn't for Johnny, we would not have had a show. Johnny was hated. I don't know if you know this. I wanted to come out and let you know. You were hated by almost everybody on the show that came there before trying to set things up, because we could never get, our show always began with technical problems. Hollywood would come, you would come literally like you'd be 3 minutes before the time. You'd always be late. So that was everybody, and somebody was always in a panic, and something was always wrong.
And there was no time clock, and I knew how to fix it.
You'd come in 3 minutes or in 5. Always, it was a button here, and you plug. Oh, these 2 wires are. It just boggled the mind, and everybody, and so the talk went from, yeah, he's so fucking cocky. Yeah, but he fixes it all the time. That's how he got that way.
Yeah. You know how you.
But that was and that was a show that. We were on a show that it potentially could have gone somewhere if it had been appropriately managed.
You know what? That would be high-end amateur, to be honest. That's again, you know how I walk in and I'm like all cocky because I know what's wrong and I just push a button and that's okay. So you have no idea until you do like some of the real shows, just how low budget that was. I mean,
I know.
I've done compound media a couple of times, and whoa.
No, Johnny, what I was thinking of was the people at the high point. There were probably
talented.
There were a dozen people that considered themselves involved on the show. And
there was a lot of talent in that.
There were guest, appearances that punched it up. There were cute segments. And so it could have become more professional and more polished than better.
I just get a kick out of the way some of the money got spent on that for things that weren't as important, things that would have been, I had pushed for like 2 pieces of equipment that would have made the entire operation work. And believe it or not, I actually have those 2 pieces of equipment right here, right now, right? So this HDMI splitter and this right here, it's a Blackmagic Design converter, and this thing literally takes an HDMI signal straight out of the camera and plugs it right into the computer. And right now I'm using a Canon C100 at I'd say 1080 resolution, and it's amazing. The camera is like I've got great lenses on it. Great. That one box cost at the time when we were doing the show might have been $200, and this was $75. But he went and spent $12,000 on some crazy studio mixing board.
The funny thing about the $12,000 he spent, everybody that he told, it had a different price.
Right.
It was a $7,000 board he got for $2,500. It was an $8,000 board he got for $7,000. It was a $12,000 board he got for $10,000, whatever it was.
Yeah. So for just that cost right there, and all you would have had to do was plug the HDMI cameras into this box, and then when you wanted to switch, instead of doing all that crazy stuff that was going on, there's a remote control. You switch to the camera that you want. It was, right now, my Zoom setup is probably more capable than what he had. Granted, it was 6 years ago.
When we went, we were yeah, it was, we were taping masking tape, you know, uh,
Yeah,
masking tape cameras onto
because
sticks and things.
yeah, because right now, like let's put it this way, I'm only running 2 of my lights right now, but if I bring up everything, this turns into and if I drop screen, now we've got like professional studio lighting. There's hardly any shadow except my headlights a little low right now. If it was a little higher, that shadow would be gone. But and if I lean, yeah, now it's gone. So yeah, we could have had a lot, but nobody was working together. Everybody was working against each other. Everybody was trying to get spots, and everybody was trying to, I guess, outdo me. I don't know. That's a cocky statement, but it's like legit. I don't know.
You do have an incredible radio voice. I will give you that. And
You
it's
know,
very
you
hard to do.
you
It's when
started out in radio at Montclair State, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then I went to DRE in Garden City as a sub roster DJ, and then EXT in Poughkeepsie.
Okay.
Well,
You really do have a good radio voice.
I've been working on my Johnny Hollywood voice because I wanna become a famous radio personality. But
You
whenever
want to
I
know
do
who
it,
I sound like to me?
Oh,
Willie
how do you
Ames.
sound?
Willie
What do you
Ames.
sound like?
On Ada, remember Eight is Enough?
yeah,
When Charles in Charge?
yeah.
Willie Ames. For some reason, that's all I hear when I hear myself recorded.
Wow. I have to
Yeah.
go back and check it out.
Yep.
Who
So
does
you have
Johnny
the
Hollywood's?
John Malkovich look and Willie Ames sound.
Yeah.
Who sounds more like John Hollywood, Tom? Me or Johnny?
I have to vote for Johnny. He's got more experience.
You know what? Why don't you close your eyes and ask us some stupid questions and we'll answer. And
I'm not falling for that again.
and you pick who answered.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway,
This
That's
is live recorded
story.
radio, Tom. We got to keep it moving. Come up with
that's
something.
my story. I'm sticking to it. So yeah. Anyhow. Yep. So let's see what else. So I had to anyway back to the thing. I had the back surgery, and we'll see. We got a nice court case going in New York State, and I'm gonna sign affidavits and do all kinds of good stuff like that. So
Well, good luck
Yeah.
with all that.
Car accidents are never fun. I fell asleep behind the wheel once.
Yeah.
Drifted over the yellow line. A truck coming from the opposite direction flipped. Thank God the guy was okay.
Right.
And the woman behind him ended up, hitting the guy that flipped. And I woke up when I hit the curb on the opposite side of the street. And let me tell you,
Wow.
scary.
So you're reminding me of an amazing practical joke that one of you might be able to use sometime. And I heard it from a cop who was a comic.
What's that?
And he said, we'd have a late night shift and we'd drive back from the end of our shift at like 2 or 3 in the morning with my partner. And, it's a long drive. So we're driving back. My partner fell asleep. He said, so I pulled into a rest stop area and I parked the car. So it's right at the curb where there's a tree right in front of the car. And my partner's still sleeping. And he said, I'd start to rev the engine a little bit louder, rev it a little louder. And when he start to wake up, I'd turn on the headlights so the tree would light up and I'd go, just as the guy is weak. I'm thinking that's like, you used to in camp, you dip the guy's finger in water or something and get him to pee.
That reminds me of the old joke where the guy says, when I die, I want to die peacefully in my sleep like Uncle Bob. Not like the rest of the people screaming and panicking in the car.
Yeah, right.
That is an example of Paraprostokian.
Oh.
When I die, I want to go peacefully in my sleep like my grandfather, not yelling and screaming like the people in the car. It's similar to where there's a will, I want to be in it.
Oh God, you don't even want that. Don't want that.
Anyway,
If you're in a will, you want to be the only person in the will with sole discretionary power to divide the funds as you see fit.
You know, my father died recently. He died in August. We're still settling the estate.
My mother-in-law died 2 years ago, and it's still a thing. My wife's uncle died 5 years ago, and it's still a thing. In fact, that attorney disappeared with about $250,000.
Whoa.
Yeah, and we have ethics charges against the attorney, and because it's over $100,000,
Larson.
it became a state matter. It went beyond local jurisdiction. It went state jurisdiction, and he's under a criminal investigation by the Attorney Ethics Committee, and he's looking at restitution, jail time, and loss of license, a minimum of that. And he hasn't communicated with anybody, hasn't produced any records as far as where any of the money is. It's insane, dude. It's going to take a long time to be able to close my mother-in-law's estate because she was the executrix on that.
Wow.
Yeah,
now
man.
Restitution, that's a prostitute at a rest station, a rest stop?
No. That's a lot lizard. That's a lot lizard. Restitution is if she bit you, she'd have to give the money back.
I thought it was Anthony Ennis.
Yeah, man.
Shout out to Anthony.
Am I the only person? I know this is close to Tom, but my wife's been watching this a lot lately, and it's been bugging me. You ever watch My 600-Pound Life?
Watch it. I live it.
I'm sorry, Tom. You're not 600 pounds. Stop it. No.
No.
But don't you think that after those people lose all that weight, they should be able to jump over a house? Don't you think that they should have such incredible leg strength that it should be almost like a non-effort? I mean, the ones that can still walk. I mean, you know what I mean?
It's like you're going from Earth to Ganymede.
Yes, exactly. Like you should be going for like you should be able at 1/10 gravity. You know what I mean? If you 1/6 gravity, if you're 100 pounds and you were 6.
That should be the theme for the commercials for Weight Watchers, that they're bouncing and they take a step and they float in the air. But it should also be the theme for the commercial with the people with Crohn's disease, because they always say you feel lighter.
Yeah, right. You should be able to jump over a house, you know, like Tom, you're not 600 pounds, but if you got down to $1.50, you should be able to at least jump over a shed, right?
I'm still falling getting up the stages. Who are you calling?
I know.
But I'm thinking if you lost that much weight, Tom, you could hire out to auto shops as a lift.
Yeah. I called the lift for a ride the other day. The guy came, he says, "You don't need lift, you need forklift."
Oh, Tom, that must have hurt your feelings.
It's terrible, Tom. You know, I heard another heavier person. Not. We know him, but I didn't mean to hurt his feelings last week. And I said to him, as part of a organization that produces comedy shows, you have a responsibility as a gatekeeper. It's like you have to be a little more particular about who you invite onto this stage, because this is a professional stage, and you've given access to people who might not be ready to be on that stage yet. I'm not saying it doesn't belong there, but they might not be ready yet, right? And he says, well, it's not about who you let in, it's about filling up the room. And I said, well, hell, if you keep eating the way you're eating, you could do that by yourself.
Anyway, it's also a sad commentary on what's required to keep comedy alive. You have to have the comedy rooms, and to have the comedy rooms, you have to let people who think they're comedians. There was a time I thought I was a comedian, and I got up at Scotty's for new talent for like 2 years. I didn't know. I loved it. I love those shows.
There's two things. There's that's a double-edged sword to some degree. And I've heard it mentioned twice, one by a friend of ours and another by Jim Norton. And what Norton said was he was very grateful that Bob Levy was as accommodating as he is. Like, he's willing to work with anybody. God bless him. And he said that Bob was like got him into rooms that he never belonged in. And that really is what started his career for him. Like when Jim Florentine was just an opener and Norton was basically an MC, that really got them access that they weren't ready for. And it made them work harder to be there, you know? And also heard a friend of ours say that, you know, you're not even ready to be in this room. He goes, like, just keep your eyes open and listen and see what's going on. You know, you guys aren't ready. And I thought he was full of shit, but I actually proved him wrong, like a couple weeks later, and he apologized. But there's a certain responsibility that people who have legitimate stages have to the business. And that's not just to comedians. I'm saying that's to the audience.
Right.
Because
yeah,
you know,
if it's not an open mic, if it's not an open mic and it's not a showcase.
Right. There's a lot of local shows that don't follow that rule, and people end up getting very discouraged with live comedy.
It hurts all comedy. If
Yeah.
you have one horrible comic and it leaves a bad taste in people's mouth.
Yeah, I tried going to a show. It's not my cup of tea, you know, it wasn't that good. And that's the expectation, that it's not that good. And it's hard to overcome that later on.
Right.
Yeah. And you know, we know there are some very few really diehard comedy fans that will, you know, go for comedy, but you know, there
are more than that. You know, working at the Cove, I've definitely seen that there are more people who are strong comedy fans who show up religiously. I'm not just talking about Bill and Nancy. I'm talking about there's a lot of people who are there all the time.
Yeah.
Those are true comedy fans. Those people, you'll never turn them away from comedy. But then you have people who would like to go to a show.
If they're the first time out and they're not liking it, that's it. They did comedy. It's like opera. I went to opera. That's fine.
Right. An Italian restaurant that used to be in Somerville. It was done by somebody who may or may not have taken a lot of money from somebody. He not our friend, but another guy. And yeah, that's gone. But a lot of people had gone to that. He had a lot of fans. I'll give him that. He really had a lot of regular customers, but the shows weren't very good.
Yeah.
You know, which is why I think TIFFs is kind of doing well. And I hate to mention it because, you know, they've got Sam Tripoli involved, and like they're getting a lot of great acts up there. A lot. Like I'm impressed.
Where?
Comedy Dojo, TIFFs.
Is that Paul?
No, that's their Comedy Dojo is their brand. Sam Tripoli is the guy behind Comedy Dojo, and there's a few of them across the country. And so the one that's up in Morris Plains, I don't know what kind of deal they got. I mean, if they're doing something cool, like saying like, okay, if you want to work at these 4 locations, you have to work at the 5th. You know what I mean? Which is that's really cool if that's what they're doing, because it's building this location up. It's not cool for the Cove. It's really crappy for competition. But you know, competition also breeds excellence, you know?
Right.
So if you've noticed, the Cove has really stepped up their lineups as well.
Are you sure they hired me?
Yeah, but you're not headlining, dude. I mean, come on. And you're only working with Uncle Floyd. So, I mean, you could hire a Rock. No, you could hire, I don't know who you could hire. Anybody with Uncle Floyd is going to have a great show. No,
that's true.
You do well. You know, but you got to also remember that your brand of comedy is not the same type of brand of comedy as the other stuff. It's not, you know, when you're bringing in the guys from Compound Media that all work with, well, okay, so let's say Gino Bisconti, Pat Dixon, Dave Landau. I think they've got like Kevin Brennan in the works. They've had Chrissy Mayer. Who else from that group? But a lot of that kind of comedy, that kind of comic, that caliber, where they're national acts, and they're actually making negotiations to bring them into the Comedy Cove. And even with COVID, you know, a lot of people are willing to work at a much lower rate. So, yeah, we're getting good talent. And then the pickup shows like guys that have, only one night of the weekend because they're doing a theater or they got one date somewhere else, like getting Bobby Collins and Joey Cola and Vince August. And, that's where the good stuff is going on. And so, yeah, I mean, competition builds that, level, it raises all the boats, Hold on one second. I'm right here. I'm on a Zoom chat. I'll be off in a minute.
Yeah, no, there was a big brouhaha in New York where there were some clubs saying if you work at this club, if you work at our club, you can't work at another club.
Right. Bananas does that too. That's why there's nothing in North Jersey. But okay, and now here's an early press release. I'm going to switch to my earbuds. So
dropped. Helium bought Bananas, right?
I didn't.
Yes. Yes.
You did. Okay. Helium bought Bananas, and unofficially, they have an ageist policy. Certain older comedians we know have contacted them to get booked, like they were on booked before, and they're like, yeah, we're not hiring guys under 50. Then I heard we're not hiring guys under 45. And then you look at their lineups. Ow, damn it. You look at their lineups and you're seeing a lot of younger talent coming through, which is interesting because we all know that North Jersey's demographic comedy audience is between, let's say, 40 and 60, right?
Right. Yeah.
So do you think somebody between 40 and 60 is in New Jersey, especially Bergen County, is going to shell out money to see a 24-year-old on stage?
Nope.
Or a 30-year-old guy on stage? What is a 30-year-old guy going to say that these people don't already know or haven't experienced or think is going to have a new take on things, right?
Right.
And I understand the desire to build a new audience. I get that too. That I understand. But to just cut that whole demographic off and then to have this non-compete policy, well, you just freed up an entire block of comedians that really want to work. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so here's the early press release. Be on the lookout for something in the North Jersey area that 400 people that will be a new comedy venue.
Okay.
Be on the lookout because it's coming. It's definitely coming.
Okay.
And the venue is very open to being in competition against the Holiday Inn in Hasbrook Heights.
Okay.
Very, very, very happy about that. So we got to lock down the details, but that's going to be a thing.
Nice.
Cool.
And I think we might even try to pull Carlos Mencia for the first weekend.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just everybody, just keep your eyes and ears open because there's a good choice. There's a good chance it's happening soon.
If Carlos isn't free, I might be, depending on the night, I might be available.
Okay. I will
can do Tom's entire act.
That's not going to help you.
Well, listen to Carlos.
Well, actually, if he listens to your act, you might see a few of your jokes in his material. Yeah, man. So yeah, we're gonna see what happens because, like I said, you can't pull that nonsense and have people who you thought even that's not even smart business. You just don't do it. You don't publicize that you're not doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
And then you maintain your exclusivity and you can keep your control. But if you turn around and say, yeah, we're not hiring older comics anymore, what's to stop us now? You're not going to hire us.
Well,
it's funny. It's not funny, but the Borgata in Atlantic City, they changed the bookers. And the new bookers policy is they're doing the same thing with a younger demographic. And in my opinion, not as good as the people that they used to book.
Right.
And yeah.
No offense. And I might be whoever's watching this might just go, oh, bullshit, he's so full of shit. But I would say that take away the behind the scenes machinery and just purely base it on stage presence and performance, they just had Gianmarco Cerisi there. Gianmarco's a good guy. I like him. I met him at Eastville. I worked with him there. I worked with him at Broadway. And if he's headlining at Bananas, yeah, you know what I mean? There's a lot of guys on par, you know, and you know, some guys have better back office work going on. They have, you know, a machine behind them. God bless, you know. How do I get that machine? Because, you know, I can do a national tour. I'd love to do a national tour. So, and again, the people spending the money are my demographic. So, you know.
Yeah, it's true.
You do you really want to go see a woke comic? I know Doug is very progressive, but I know he can't even tolerate woke comics.
I tolerate very few. And, you know, the only thing I can think about the younger demographic they're going to is these are people that often know many. So if you have a 25-year-old comic, the odds are he's going to be friendly with 20 people versus 40 to 60-year-olds, you know, they'll what are they going? Who are they going to bring? Their Chamber of Commerce?
Yeah, but they'll also have this stake. You know what I'm saying? They're not going to sit there and have 2 beers all night long, you know, and then waste everybody's time and burn out the waitress and not tip the waitress. You know, these kids are broke. I mean, honestly,
they're woke and broke.
Woke and broke. One of the things I respected about Bananas, and I don't know if they're still doing it now, but they used to have a sliding scale depending on who the talent was. You know, if Jim Jeffries was there, it was a $60 ticket. You know, if Chris DiStefano was there, it was a $20 ticket. You know what I mean? So that I respect.
I was paying
about a
people
venue.
$5 to come in and see me.
Well, Doug, I am waiting for that Venmo deposit for this show. Yeah. So
but
okay.
they did accept Groupons at the time, right?
I don't know, but I do know that they always had a sliding
Doug's $5 show.
Listen, what happens if comedy is only if the demographic is, let's agree it's 40 to 60 and all the comics are 40 to 60.
Right.
How many 25-year-olds are going to get into comedy? What's going to happen in comedy in 10 years?
Well, I'll show you what you're seeing it right now.
They'll be gone.
No, yes, I agree with you. But here's the point. That's why it's more than just one guy on a show. You build a show, so you bring in like multiple perspectives. It's not like you have a homogenized show with a homogenized audience. That's not going to help anybody. But if you bring the talent up and you bring them along and you include them in the system, that's why certain clubs, I'm really surprised, aren't doing more to push. I'm not saying they're not doing anything, but they're not doing enough to farm out the local talent. There are clubs across the country that have house comics that promote them to other clubs and send them on the road. And in which case, you know, that also prompts other clubs to send their house comic to that guy. It's like, we'll do a switch this weekend. I mean, that's something that our friend used to take great advantage of. You know, he would negotiate amongst clubs and stuff like that because he had work to give. And so, you know, there was some give and take. And I don't know why we don't see more of that in the business. I know that Uncle Vinny used to push Ryan Marr, used to send them all over the country. And in which case he would end up with some pretty good talent, you know, in return. But some places just don't do that. Franchise clubs won't do that. But anyway, I digress. We can all want things that we don't have.
Yeah.
But anyway. So yeah, Tom, you guys. Yeah.
We're getting near the end of our time. Tom, I know you've got some shows coming up. You wanna let our audience know where they can see you?
Well, this week I have it's actually an open mic format. It's down in Williamstown, New Jersey, in the middle of nowhere. It's called CK Brewing Company. And Tony Parlante runs that. And I've got some other shows coming up. Saturday, March 20th, the Orange Lantern in Paramus. It's a new venue. Looking forward to that. Rich Carucci is going to be headlining. Tuesday, March 23rd, I'm down South Jersey again at the Laughing Fox with Steve Rinaldi. He's going to be headlining. Friday, March 26th, Loretta Winery down in New Egypt, New Jersey, close to me.
Okay, Tom, I hate you now.
I've been doing this with them for 2
Helene
years.
Angley. Helene Angley is headlining there. And then Friday and Saturday, April 9th and 10th, I'm opening for Doug Karpf at the Comedy Cove in Springfield. And that's all I got to say about that.
And Doug, where are you performing? Oh, I'm not performing anywhere, Tom. I have a Zoom show April 24th in Canada.
Oh yeah, I got a Zoom show too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I
I
can
have.
Johnny.
Does anyone care?
Yes.
I am performing at the New Devil's Den on the 27th in Cliffside Park. I will also be featuring for Dave Landau on April 2nd and 3rd. I'm headlining at TIFF's with No Filter Paul and Dave Hodge. And I don't have the solid dates. I think it's the 22nd and 23rd. And we're also having a Big Red Buzzer show again on April 8th. That show is a ton of fun if you can, no offense, Tom. If you can get to it, it's, sorry, brother. It's just sometimes too easy and somebody has to do the heavy lifting. Anyway, it's a spoof. America's Got Talent meets The Gong Show. Nobody's supposed to win. Because if you sign on board, you know, everybody, the whole show is made by losers, run for losers. That's basically it. Made by losers, run for losers. I think that's a really great catchphrase for it.
That is.
Yeah. It's basically a gag show. When you lose, a very patronizing MC comes out and wants to ask the judges why we did that. And they ask the performers, it's like, well, how do you feel about that? You know, it's
It
fun as
reminds
hell.
me of, I did a show called Paid or Pain, and the audience votes at the end of the set whether you get beaten by a dominatrix or get paid.
Interesting. Yeah, we have
So I didn't
we
do
have
too well.
the
I got paid.
we have the glitter boy. If you actually get voted, because here's what happens: if you don't get buzzed, we now have to vote as a la Gong Show, right? So then the judges have to give you really low scores, you know, and the judges now are in competition to see who can give the lowest score and justify it. So then you have the glitter boy who comes out in a tutu and throws glitter on the person if they win, and then you have the sugar sweeper who actually sweeps you off the stage if you get the buzzer.
And where will this Red Buzzer show be?
That show will be at Scotty's because at the Comedy Cove at Scotty's Steakhouse because we need to fill the room. So we're at 35% there. So we'll be that ought to be a fun show.
And
Basically, we're just
giving
giving five tickets to everybody. That will be April 3rd.
Nice.
Yeah, details to follow. And keep your eyes open for a new venue in the North Jersey area to compete with. You know, and I hate to say it, I don't want to seem like it's a competition against the Comedy Shop. Comedy Shop moves around a little bit. This will be a permanent location.
Okay. Interesting.
Fingers crossed for you. Good luck.
Thank you. Yeah. All
Well,
right,
Johnny,
gentlemen, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, it was great having you on the show. Good seeing you again. I haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, like I said, the accident has kept me kind of off the radar for a little bit.
Yeah.
And
Well,
COVID.
Heal
true.
all the rest of the way, and good luck.
Yep.
Thank you.
Feel better.
And Doug, as soon as I can turn a wrench, we'll be talking again.
Happy to help you with your breaks.
Thank you, sir.
I'm good at them now.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, on behalf of the Funny Talk with Mangelli and Max, until next time.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.